Test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3. What's going on, everybody? Yeah. Listen, this weather don't make us go away. We just keep coming. We keep moving forward no matter what kind of weather is out there. That's what it's all about, my brothers and sisters. That's what it's all about. Check it out. I'm going to make it a couple announcements, and then we're going to have somebody come up here and give you guys a couple of words. So first and foremost, as you all know, we are selling this merchandise. All proceeds go to PETA to help her fight this fight against breast cancer. So continue to look, see what we got here. In the back, we have Rebel Skull with some more Risky shirts. Again, proceeds are going to PETA to help her fight this battle. So if you like the Risky, back there is what you got. As a matter of fact, I hope you guys got one in my size. I'm coming to you shortly. All right. So, also, we got our 50-50 going around. 50-50, let's hit it up, guys. Let's get the 50-50 in there. What's the split at right now? Anybody know? I bet you it's not enough money to get to Staten Island, so let's get it in there, guys. Let's go. Gas is really expensive these days. Let's do this. Also, we have a lot of food. A lot of food. I want everybody to eat here like a true Latino. Yes, we got to. Listen. Linda, listen. We got to get rid of that food. So, please, feel free to go get your seconds, your thirds, whatever. Get some food. Let's get that food out of here. My ladies make that food with a lot of love and care. And they want to make sure that you guys are taken care of. All right? So, now, I'm going to ask, did I miss anything? Oh, how can I forget? Listen, guys, we have some great gifts baskets back there. Get some raffle tickets. Try to get some of them gifts over there. Some good liquor over there. We got a couple of Harley things over there. I got my eye on that cooker thing over there. Hey. What? All right. So listen, try to get some tickets. Get them gift baskets over there, and let's do this. Now, I'm going to ask. Where is he? I'm going to ask Ozzy to come over here and say a couple of words for everybody here. So if everybody can please, let me have your attention. Can I have everybody come inside, please? If you're not smoking a cigarette, come on inside.
You're live.
Everybody in? You got everybody in here? If you're not smoking a cigarette or buying a ticket, come inside.
You stay in between them.
All right, let's sell tickets and smoking out there. Let's do it. We're good.
I want to thank everybody for showing up for my mother for this fundraiser. You know, in the beginning, this was kept secret, and I'm the last person to keep something like this secret with. So if everybody has a cell phone, so you know I'm the real deal, just go to Ozzy's Hair Art. You're going to find out who I am. So get your phones out, because after I'm finished with you, you're going to know who I am. So Ozzy's Hair Art. So just pull out your phones, go to Ozzy's Hair Art on Facebook, and you're going to see who I am. Once you have that, it's Ozzy's, O-Z-Z-Y-S, Hair Art, H-A-I-R-T, and that's who I am. In '92, cancer presented itself to us through my aunt, and my aunt used to come to my mother's house in Newark on Saturdays and hang out with us. And one Saturday, I came home from work and she said, she looked at me, she let us know that she had cancer and that, you know, she was talking to my mother. I was young, I was ill prepared, I didn't know what to do. I did not have the knowledge I have now. And she pulled me to the side one day and she had asked me something that changed my life forever and I didn't know it was gonna take this effect on me. So she pulled me to the side and she had asked me, can I help her with her hair? I did not understand her question at that time. I've been doing hair for over 30 years, and when I opened up my own business, that question came back to me again in the form of a woman with no hair. When I opened my business, like 6, 7 months into my opening my business, a woman came to me. We're friends to this day, and she said, Ozzy, you mind helping me pick out a wig? I never thought about wigs at that time. And I said, oh, okay, I'll go with you, help out. And it ended up being fun. A week later, I got an invitation to go to the Upper East Side, and this woman reached out to me to see if I was interested in helping women with thinning hair. So I said, I don't believe in luck, and I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in divine intervention, so it's meant to be. I met with the woman, and when I was at her studio, she did 2 things after I met. It was like 8 women, 1 older guy, and me. And I usually like to sit in the front so I could get everything. She took out all her teeth, put them on the table like that, and ripped off all her hair and asked and looked at me and said, you think I could walk around looking like this? And I started laughing. I wasn't laughing at her, I was laughing at the fact that she did that. So then she, you know, I never thought of my aunt, and this is like 10 years later. This is in 2002. My aunt passed away in 92. And she pulled me to the side, and when she pulled me to the side, it was like I was having an out-of-body experience. And she said, she stated, do you think you could help me with my hair? And I freaked out. I got highly, that's my phone, so I got it. So
Hello? Take 2.
So I just froze. I wasn't looking at her at all. I was looking at my aunt all over again. It just happened all over again. The whole thing just happened. I froze. I got highly emotional. I didn't know what to do. I freaked out. So I just said, I'm going to take your class because I didn't know what that was. I took her class and I became obsessed with additional hair. I am a master wig maker. I could create a wig from scratch. I'm the real thing. So if you go to Ozzy's Hair Art, there's a video there with gray hair. I created that hair piece for a man, but it's really for a woman. And I am the real thing. Secondly, I became obsessed. The women started coming to me, one in back of the other, and they started hearing my story about my aunt and how I was an advocate for women living with cancer and losing the hair, and then something else happened. Every consultation, it wasn't about hair. It was about their medication and what's going on in the doctor's office, and it started overwhelming me. So again, I don't believe in luck, and I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in divine intervention. So I became obsessed. I needed to find somebody who would give me an answer to hair loss. I need to know why the hair is coming out from the drugs. I met this friend of mine, Andrea from Texas, through a hair replacement club I went to in Florida to train how to put on hair. But this company is a middleman. This is not, somebody you could just learn from. It's just a middleman. You learn whatever they teach you and you keep it moving. So she was affiliated with the International Association of Trichologists. There was my connection. The International Association of Trichologists that's the understanding of diseases and disorders of the hair and scalp. So I became obsessed. I have my other answer. Now I can answer these questions. So I started studying trichology, which is a form of dermatology, but it's for hair. And the women would not stop coming. And the same thing, I'm talking about hair, and they're talking to me about the medication. So I needed to listen to them. It became overwhelming. It overwhelmed me so much that I understand all the medications a woman's going to take for chemotherapy. So there's only two. There's cytostatic and cytotoxic. Cytotoxic is cell killing and cytostatic is cell stopping. So depending on the medication, they're either going to kill the cells or stop them from spreading. So I became knowledgeable in all the medications. Do not ask me any medical questions. I'm not a doctor. I could come off like one, but I'm not. Do not ask me. I'm just here to help you. So I became obsessed studying chemotherapy drugs. I got so obsessed and I started traveling the country with the International Association of Trichologists that one day the director and I sat down, we were in Washington, D.C., and I took his wife and him out to lunch. Now, they're coming from Australia. They travel the world with this. So he had asked me, Ozzy, how'd you feel about the conference? I said it was really strong, and he had a forensic scientist there. So if I was ever to get into law, it would have to be forensic science because I used to work law, and I like to pick and dissect things a lot. So if I need to do a background check on you, I will. So that's what I'm good at. So I just was talking to him and his wife. We were having lunch. I wasn't looking around for anything. So I answered him. I said, it's interesting that you're asking me this question, but you're missing an element to this conference, and you need to include a woman going through chemotherapy and losing her hair due to the drugs, chemotherapy, and she's going to be living with three things. She's going to be living with a degenerative disease, psychosomatic issues, and malnutrition. So there was three things you have to touch on before you get to her hair. And when I was consulting with the clients, that was what was missing, but it was still happening. They were still coming and talking about medication. And I'm like, I am not a doctor. Please do not bring this to me. I do not know what this belongs in the doctor's office. It would not stop. So when I brought that to his attention, he said, do you mind speaking at the conference next year in Chicago? So I said, I didn't think that, and I said, sure, I could do that. He said, you have your PowerPoint presentation together? I said, I have everything together. I just have to put it in bullet point form and just present it. I ended up creating a 45-slide presentation that I was able to speak on in less than 40 minutes. And I ended up in Chicago. I've spoken in front of other women and groups and 50, but now I was in front of over 300 people from around the world, and the majority of them were doctors. I spoke at the Drake Hotel in Chicago, and usually conference rooms are regular rooms. They're not elaborate. This was elaborate. It looked like Beauty and the Beast was going to pop out any minute. And I was high on a stage, and I was like, whoa. And I was in front of almost 350, 400 people, doctors and everybody. And I was the last one to go on. 45 minutes felt like 5 minutes to me, and it went like this. So that's how in tune I was with the lecture. I got off the stage, I went to the bathroom, I came back, and I sat down, and everybody was smiling at me. I got a little scared because the room got really quiet, and I didn't know what it was that I did. So I went all the way to the front. I sat next to this doctor from Mumbai. He just smiled at me. He said, you really know your stuff. And I said, this is what I do every day at work when the ladies come to me. I have to do this because if I don't do this, they'll be panicking and there'll be anxiety. And it's all right. I took voice lessons so I could speak loudly. So from there, he spoke to me, and I just smiled at him, and I said, I have to know my stuff because this is not going to stop. It's going to keep continuing. So my director, after I was finished, when this was presented to me to speak, I put the bullet point presentation together, and I called a good friend of mine, Diane, that used to live in Red Neck. She passed away a couple of years ago due to cancer, but it wasn't the cancer that took her. It was her. She had something else I needed to study. It was mental illness. It wasn't cancer. So she passed away, and I said, Diane, I think I have a book. So she says, you do? I said, I put the PowerPoint presentation together, but there's chapters. So I ended up writing a book. So I have books here. I only have 19. So if you're interested in my book and my journey, They're $20. I have my credit card, I have Cash App, Venmo, etc. I have it. So I ended up writing a book. I was writing this book, took me 4 years. It's not perfect, but it's a lot of doctors were impressed by it. So I said, I think I have a book. When I lectured, my director, David, said, Ozzy, when are you going to be finished with that book? And I said, when I get off the stage, because that was me fulfilling what I had to do. Not knowing when I got off the stage, and the next year my book came out, and I had a huge book signing. I thought 50 people were going to show up, and I looked up, and it was like 200 people. I did not know what I did. I just kept signing books. And it was interesting because I was always interested in what happens on the other side. So that happened. I'm still studying the medicine. I became so involved with cancer. You need to understand that cancer is not a disease. It's a defense mechanism. It's there. We all have cancer cells in our bodies. Cancer runs on sugar and oxygen. Those are the good cells. When it becomes a disease is when your body becomes highly acidic. So when I found out about my mother, I said, I'm going to everything because I want to dissect the doctors and listen to everything. And I did. The first doctor was the surgeon. That's not who I want to talk to. She was just breaking something down, but she was breaking it down in a way that was, my mother tuned her out. And I looked at her, I said, she tuned you out. You need to explain it like this. So I got on my mother's case about things she had to do. So when you're diagnosed with cancer, the first thing you need to do is assess the situation, and your lifestyle has to change. Your diet has to change. And this is going to take a lot of work because there's things that you're used to. Cancer feeds off of sugar. That's going to be one. Once it gets tired of sugar and you've knocked out the sugar, it's going to find another path to eat from. That's cholesterol. So that's considered metabolic pathways. You will have to cut out the meat. So it's sugar, cholesterol, and meat. It's a metabolic pathway. Once you conquer one, you have to conquer the other. You have to seal all entries so it doesn't eat. So if it eats, that means it could starve. So when her doctor was drawing out an outline of her situation, I understood what she was drawing. So it looked something like this. It looked like a circle, and she was drawing it. So I said, that's nothing. That's just traveling. It's looking for a way to eat. So when the cancer cell is formed, the medical term is called angiogenesis. And angiogenesis, they make it like a big special word. It's bullshit. Angiogenesis. It's just two words. Can anybody, and when they want to hide something in front of you, they hide it in plain sight. What is the definition of Genesis?
Beginning.
The beginning. It's the first book of the Bible. Switch the words around. Genesis, angio. Angio is the Latin Greek term for storage box, receptacle, bin. So it's the beginning of a storage box. Is that easy to understand? Now we need to know what it's storing. They're telling you to stop eating sugar. Sugar brings its strength. Because what happens, the cancer cells survive in an anaerobic state, meaning that it can survive without oxygen in the blood. That's when the blood is highly acidic. And that way, once you know that, you have to change your diet. So I immediately started a regimen with my mother, and she's like, oh my God, that's too much, you're buying too much stuff. So I told the DJ here, keep this cup here. So I said, the first thing we're gonna start doing is juicing. So I looked at this is passion fruit and something else, but it looked green to me. I said, this you're gonna have to do like 3 or 4 times a day. You're gonna do supplements. If you want to kill this thing, you need to work along with the doctor. Because if you want the doctor to succeed, you have to do your part. And you need to cut out each thing that's feeding the cancer. So when the cancer is spreading, and what it's doing, once the cell is formed, it creates its own feeding system. It creates its own capillaries, and it's looking for the nearest blood vessel to feed on the source of sugar. So that's why when it's spread, it's just looking for another source to eat from. And it metasizes. That's just replication. So what you want to do is stop making it spread, so you have to change your diet. So you figure out the metabolic pathways, and then once with your diet, now the doctor will say, well, I'm going to give you this treatment. So, okay, what treatment? Because the treatment he's going to give you is going to challenge a certain growth cycle in the cell. So there's 8 growth cycles in the cell. So whichever treatment, so when I started studying medicine, the reason why I started studying the drugs for chemotherapy is because I needed to know which were the strongest drugs that take the hair out first to the least strongest. That's what I studied it for, because I was what I was after. I said, why is the hair falling out? I need to know why the hair is falling out. So the capillaries go through 3 stages and then a 4th stage. 3 stages before the hair comes out, and then the 4th stage is when the hair returns. So I wrote my book. I didn't know what, I just wrote the book, and I became obsessed. I started studying the medicine and everything. So then I stopped that COVID hit. When I finished writing the book and I had the book signing, it was like a high and low at the same time. And I went home. It was exciting, but I was like, I don't think I'm finished yet. I ended up writing a second book. So this one's called Life Inside the Storage Box, and I just explained to you what angiogenesis is. So this is somebody living with cancer, but what happens inside the storage box? A cancer cell is nothing more than a storage box. That's all you need to know. So you need to know it's a storage box, what is it storing, and how I'm going to defeat it. Then you got to figure out the metabolic pathways, and metabolic pathways are the ways the cancer eats. So when it spreads, it's just growing extra capillaries, so that way it can feed off of certain sources. And this will, in order for you to knock this out, your pH balance has to be from a 6.7 to a 7.7. You can get pH strips on Amazon, pee on them, and you'll see. If you're below 6.7, your body's highly acidic. Your plan is to bring it into an alkaline level, so your blood has oxygen in it.
What would be the level?
Hold on, let me just finish, because I'm in my zone. So I'll tell you. So from there, that's what you need to know. Cancer is not a disease. It's a defense mechanism. It only becomes a disease when your body becomes acidic and there's a problem going on in your body. So that's what I had to study. So my aunt's question wasn't about her hair. It was other things. It was her life. How do I prolong it? What do I do? I didn't understand, but I became so obsessed with this that I wrote this book, and I'm finishing my 3rd book, and that's the volatile relationship between hair loss and cancer. And all my books will be finished. I have my 2 finished, and then the 3rd one finished. So, who knew that this was going to happen to my mother? But I'm not upset. I'm not scared, because if I didn't do this, I would be scared. I would be frightened. And all the women come to me because I'm not frightened. I think it's bullshit. I just feel like, okay, you just need to understand these things and work with the doctor. So once the doctor, like now when a client approaches me and I'm taking this medication, I know where she's at already. I know exactly where she's at and what medication she's taking for which growth cycle with the cell. So, I'm very well equipped. And the reason why I wrote my books is so other women don't feel alone, because a lot of people can't afford health care. A lot of people can't afford certain things. So I wrote my books. I took a risk, but the doctors that I've encountered are really impressed. The question a lot of people ask me for my credentials, and I ask them, let me see your 3 books. Because when I ask them the difference between cytostatic and cytotoxic, and they can't break it down to me, and I'm speaking their language, then we have nothing to discuss, because I'm speaking your language. I know how to speak the language. I just don't let them know, because of the fact everybody doesn't need to know everything about it, and everybody doesn't deserve all of it. But who knew I was going to prepare myself like this? I've been all over the world with lecturing with this. People I've been as far as New Zealand. So I've stood in front of 10 people, I've stood in front of 400 people, I've stood in front of doctors, I've stood in front of everybody. I've been interviewed, I've been filmed, and it doesn't stop. But this is something, it started out because my aunt's question affected me. I did not know how this was going to affect me. I became a master wig maker. I became an author. I became a lecturer. I became a consultant. And I'm only one person. I can't do everything. But if I didn't take this risk, then my mother would be really upset because now what do? The doctors are just giving her these special words, and you know, sometimes women tune things out when they don't want to listen to them. But that's why I've gone with her to all the things. I said, no, I got to listen to this doctor. I want to see what they're saying because the language is different, and I understand the language. So I want to thank all of you for coming, helping my mother out. Cancer is not a disease, it's a defense mechanism. You just need to figure out what it's eating. You need to change your diet. Like I saw what we were eating today that has a lot of salt, has a lot of cholesterol. That's fine, you could still eat that, but when you're living with a certain disease, living with a degenerative disease, you need to cut all that back, and you need to introduce the green into your body. You need to break down all those things. One good thing about changing your diet and eating healthier and eating juicing and all that, you will look younger. Your age will reverse. So, and that's considered Daniel's diet, and that's in the book of Daniel. So you got to cut out meat, all that toxic stuff, everything has to be cut out. So that's the good thing about changing your diet. I'm going to be 53 and I don't have one wrinkle in my eye. Okay? So that's why I'm flawless. So if you're interested in my book, I only brought 19 books. That's why I have a green cap, so you can stop me at my chip card machine. And that's it. And I want to thank everybody for coming out, and I hope I encourage somebody today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ozzy. That is a lot of information that I never knew. A lot of good stuff. Woo.
Good to know, man.
I got all your wrinkles, Ozzy. I got all your wrinkles, brother. Don't worry. So listen up, guys. So now that you guys got an in-depth idea of what it is about cancer, it's better to have some of that knowledge to move that forward with anybody else who you know might have the cancer. You might be able to help somebody with that information. That's a lot of good information. And he does have the books here if you guys are interested. The books are right there. You go see Ozzy, he'll hook you up. Now, let's get to the rest of this stuff. Right now, I have the split at 135 for the 50-50. Split at 135. DJ, wake up. There it is. DJ, go. Give me a clap. Ah, DJ slapping. DJ said, come on, DJ. All right, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so 135. So 135, that's not bad, but check this out. 135, I did the calculations in my head, and that's going to get me probably to the end of the turnpike. Okay? So with that being said, listen, 50-50 still open. Go ahead and test your luck. Get some 50-50 raffles. We have some raffle tickets, some phenomenal gifts over there, gift baskets. Go see my girl Magali and my prospect Lou over there. Go check them out. Also, we have tons of food in the back. Continue to get some food. Eat what you can. It's all open for you guys. And on top of it all, we got all this merchandise, all the proceeds going to Vida. The proceeds in the bag from Rebel Skunk going to Vida. Listen, DJ, drop that funky music, baby.